Hello, everyone. Welcome to Summer 17 Release Readiness for Health Cloud. I'm Zaid Mahmood, and I have with me...
Hi, I'm Mike Weber, and we're both members of the product management team for Health Cloud.
Thank you, Mike. So for our Summer 17 release, we picked a theme, empowering engagement. And around that theme, we have some brand new features and some existing features that we have enhanced and really added some value to. So before we delve into the demos and the details of these features, here's our forward-looking statement. Any purchasing decisions that you make should be made on the generally available product today. The material that we will be covering in this session is material for the Summer 17 release scheduled for June of 2017. So with that, the topics that we will be covering are Health Cloud Empower Components, brand new, and also brand new concurrent care plans, enhancements to the existing health timeline and the underlying clinical data model, ability to view and edit archive tasks, enhancements to Wave Analytics, related patient lists, and we'll talk about the licensing controls and addition of some new languages and locales. So with that, let's get into it. With Health Cloud Empower, we have three brand new Lightning components. The first one is called the Care Plan Selector. Then we have the Care Plan Task, and then the Care Team. These are pre-built components available to you in Community Builder, in Lightning App Builder, and also on Case Record page. And I'll talk through that. These components can be used as is out of the box with the default settings, or you can go ahead and configure them to your likeness as well. So for an admin or a community manager, maybe you have an existing patient community that you want to enhance or augment with these components, or you want to go ahead and build out a brand new Salesforce community in the Community Cloud. So we'll assume that you are building a new page in an existing community, a page called My Dashboard. As you go into the component section, and after having installed the summer release of Health Cloud, you will see three components in the custom component section. Go ahead and drag and drop the components like I have. First is the Care Plan Selector, which is a pick list. Then there is the Care Plan Tasks. And third, there's a Care Team component. When click on these components, you will see certain design attributes where you can go ahead and change the default settings. For example, for the Care Plan Task, you can decide whether to show or hide the labels. You can also go ahead and change the field set. What that does is that you will see in the runtime, the fields which show up for each task are being defined by that field set. So there's a field set out of the box available, but if you choose to pick your own fields, you can define your own field set and substitute that value here. Similarly, there are some design attributes for the Care Team component as well. You have a field set to define the fields for the patient, and then you have another field set to define the fields which will show up for all the other Care Team members. With that, we can do a quick preview. Everything looks fairly okay. The pick list is getting populated. So we'll go ahead and publish this. Now, as a user of the community, you log in maybe through your mobile device, click on the hamburger icon, and go to this new page which was created in the community. See the pick list. We're going to go ahead and maybe change the orientation. Pick the patient Charles Green, diabetes type 2 plan. And boom, there you go. You can see your to-do task list. You can also see contact information of the patient and other Care Team members. At that time, you can go ahead and also mark a task complete. And boom, you're done. So as you can see, it was very easy for us to very quickly build out a brand new page or enhance an existing page and render it, and everything's working very quickly. It has some default values that you can use as is, or you can also configure. For example, the fields that you see here can be changed by just creating your own field set and deciding which fields you want to show and which fields you don't want to show to the users who are logging into the communities. In addition to these components working in the Community Builder, these are Lightning components, so they're also available in the Lightning App Builder. And in addition to that, you also have these components, the two of these components, Care Plan Task and Care Team, available on the Case Record page, in which case you do not need the Care Plan Selector. So you have a lot of flexibility of how you can use these pre-built components with the default values or with very basic minor configuration if you do not want the default values to be used. With that, I'll switch over to Mike.
Great, thanks, Abe. So what I'd also like to talk to you about is another new feature of Health Cloud for this release. It's concurrent care plans. So with this release, if you remember back prior to summer, we had care plans where every single patient had one care plan and only had one care team. So with this release, we have adjusted that so that way now customers can configure their org to support multiple care plans and manage a patient's care with multiple care teams, where there may be times where it's appropriate to segment some of the communication between care team members and some of the problems, goals, and tasks associated with a particular patient's care plan. So what I thought I'd do is I'd go ahead and show you what that looks like. Right now, I'm signed in to Charles Green's account. I'm signed into a Health Cloud org with multiple care plans enabled. And from the start, you can see there are a few differences. We have a new tab here, which is really only appropriate if you have multiple care plans enabled as an admin, where you can see all of the open, closed, and all care plans. And you have the ability to see this stacked view of the different care plans that are running concurrently. So I can expand these either one at a time, or I can expand all. And I can see here the breakdown of problems, and then I can, of course, further break this down to look at goals and tasks for the individual care plans. I can also toggle over to see who are the care team members for one care plan compared to another care plan. So this all allows for a greater amount of flexibility in terms of how care plans are managed and how patient care is ultimately coordinated. What we've done in addition with this all care plans change is we've moved a few things into their respective components, since we now support not just one care plan, but multiple. You may recall there was a collaboration view. And what we've now done is we've made that available as a sub-tab that can be opened rather than being opened by default, because multiple care plans will have multiple care teams. And so we need to be able to visualize each care team independently, as you can see here. So I've now opened two different care teams, and you can see how they're quite different between Charles's smoking cessation care plan and his general chronic management care plan. What we've also done in addition is we've added some things here on this sub-tab launcher. So prior to summer, with a single care plan enabled, this section down here on the left underneath care plans is not enabled. And for customers who are just getting summer 17, they will not have this there by default. This is something that an admin can choose when to enable for the org as appropriate. What I'll do now very, very quickly is just show you where that is. So for admins, what they can do is they can go into settings, and it's a very simple custom setting. You'll see here we have a section called Health Cloud Feature Toggles. And if I manage that and edit multiple care plans, I can simply disable it. And this is how it will come by default for existing admins who already have Health Cloud installed in their orgs. And so enabling multiple care plans is as simple as going in, as I just showed, and clicking the Enabled button and hitting Save. Now I'd also like to show you a little bit more about some other changes that we've made to Health Cloud. As you can see, we've made some changes around the data model extensions and the resulting places where that shows up in the timeline. Health Cloud has been expanding its support for more and more clinical data over each release. And with this release, we're excited to include the ability for organizations to add things to the procedure object, the procedure performer, and of course, the procedure request object. What we've also done is made this far easier for admins to see rendered on the timeline. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you, as you see on this timeline here, we have these new objects here, procedures and procedure requests. So these two have been added as config rows to the timeline by default for new orgs. And these, when populated with data, will show up on the timeline like everything else. And the way to manage this for organizations that want to customize this further is I can, as an admin, I can go over to the Health Cloud admin section. I can click on Timeline View Configurations. I can view all of those configurations, and you'll see here we have procedure requests and procedures already populated. For admins who wish to modify how this is being rendered, these config rows can be edited as appropriate. So now with that, I'll talk a little bit about what we've done with archive tasks. So we were just looking at the timeline. And on this timeline, one of the most important things to be able to follow is whether or not a task is in the past or in the present, and what is that 360 view of all activities with a particular patient. And as we pull this backwards, we're seeing more and more data in the past for this particular patient. And what's important here is that most Health Cloud orgs have followed the standard Salesforce default, which is that tasks will archive after a year. What we've done for Health Cloud is we've updated these features, the timeline especially, but also the care plans tab. And also here, you may recall the Today page. And on this Today page, we've also updated as well the task listing that we'll show. So that way, no matter where you're looking at tasks in Health Cloud, you'll see a record of all archive tasks across all those features. Now, last, I'd like to show you a bit about the Wave dashboard. So you may recall that with a previous release, we added the Health Cloud Risk Stratification dashboard, which is based on CMS's HCC Wave HCC risk model. So what we've done with this release is we've enhanced that dashboard to make it work more seamlessly for patients. So here we are on the HCC Risk Stratification dashboard. And what I'd like to do is show you what we've changed. First off, I'm going to go ahead and select a risk band, and you'll see that the Wave dashboard updates. I'm now going to kind of scroll through this because these things are the same as they have been in previous releases, and show you where we've added something new in coordination with the Wave team at Salesforce. What we added was a send list to Health Cloud capability. And what this does, when I click there, is it prompts for a new patient list to be created. And so what I'm now doing is I'm taking these patients who are identified in a risk category in Wave, and I'm moving them directly into Health Cloud. So now what I've done is I've taken that list, and now if I switch back into Health Cloud, you can now see that I'm back on the patient list. And being on this patient list, we now see a new custom list that was created. And this was all done in a matter of seconds. And now I have an updated patient list, all of the patients who categorized within the 2 to 3 risk score range that I can work with immediately. And I can start opening these patients, and I can work with them on an individual basis and start doing care coordination. This should really save time in terms of moving those patients from one dashboard into an actionable list. And with that, Zaid?
That was really exciting, Mike. Thanks a lot. So with Summer 17 release, we are providing admins ability to manage access control to the Health Cloud console. This is through the permission set licenses. Permission set license is a user-level license assigned to every user whom you would like to have access to the Health Cloud console and also the backend API. So I'll quickly switch over and show you how we do that. So here we have a user, John Smith, who happens to have a license to be a Salesforce Chatter user, but he does see the Health Cloud console app installed as well and tries to log into that, but does not have the permission set license. So he sees a nice message saying that you do not have the permission and therefore contact the Salesforce admin. On the admin side, the Salesforce admin can see John Smith and go and see the permission set licenses assigned and make some additions to his rights. The admin can see that John Smith currently only has the Health Cloud standard license, which essentially just means that has access to the app which is installed, but not to be able to use the UI and the API. So at this time, the admin can go ahead and assign a new permission set, which is called the Health Cloud permission set. Save that. And now when John Smith logs in or refreshes his session, boom, can get into the Health Cloud console and has the rights to the APIs as well. So as you can see, we have provided a lot of good controls, not just for users who are authorized to access the Health Cloud console, but also for admin to make sure that from our audit perspective, they conform to the product terms and licensing conditions as well. Next, we have the addition of 3 new languages to the Health Cloud application. We have Korean, Japanese, and traditional Chinese added to the existing 6 languages in addition to the US English support. So we have now a total of 9 languages supported for Health Cloud. With that.
Great, thank you, Zabe. So just to recap what we covered, we have a Summer 17 release packed with new features and enhancements. What we went over today was Zabe started, of course, taking us through these Empower components for Health Cloud communities. And then I went through and described our new concurrent care plans capabilities, some changes to our clinical data model, and resulting ways in which that can show up on the timeline. And then we briefly touched upon this support for archive tasks and the ability to move a patient list from Wave into Health Cloud more seamlessly. And then last but not least, to wrap us up, Zabe talked us through the license management capabilities for admins and users, and now the new language support of 3 new languages, taking us up to 9 in total. So with that, thank you very much. It's been great going over these features with you, and we look forward to seeing you again and talking about the winter release.
Thank you.